Hello my friends, in this video we'll be taking a look at the autosomal DNA results, predicted phenotype traits, and even GED match results of a medieval Saxon from Cambridgeshire right here in England. Now in terms of the time period this person lived in, it was 4th to 7th century after the Common Era, so 4th to 7th century after the birth of Christ. And in terms of the ethnicities this individual resembles, let me show you actually his results with my ethnic calculator first. It is ELY002. It is a male, and he is closest to a Tolen's warrior from Germany. Followed by that is Hashfiruz. Followed by that is North Germanic, and then French. And with the two-way oracle, he's getting modeled as a mixture of this Tolen's warrior from Germany plus Hashfiruz, followed by Gleb Sviatoslavovich from Ukraine, followed by North Germanic, followed by North Italian, followed by the Tolen's warrior modeled with itself. So really, it looks like basically a European result and a vaguely northern or Central European result. And this ethnic calculator. This ethnic calculation was done based on 278 SNPs. Now, for a calculation based on more SNPs, let's look at the result with Eurogene's K13. So we can see that here this calculation was done on the basis of 85,000 SNPs. And here he is basically closest to Norwegians, followed by Swedes, followed by Icelandic people, followed by Danish, followed by North German. So he's close to various North Germanic people, actually, various Scandinavians, and he's getting modeled as a mixture of Norwegian plus North Swedish as the closest model. What's interesting about the um, um, the result with the oracle, not even with the oracle, with the calculator. What's interesting about this result is that he's scoring 7% West Asian, and he doesn't score much West Mediterranean, which is kind of surprising, kind of uncommon, because typically you will see Northwest Europeans scoring a lot more West Mediterranean and not that much West Asian. So that's definitely very interesting that he scores this way, and that's the reason why he has such high distances to all of the Scandinavian populations, which are nonetheless the closest to him. But because of the uncommon combination of 7% West Asian plus 4% West Mediterranean, because of this uncommon combination where he has more of a West Asian shift, he's actually not that similar to Scandinavians, which are the closest group to him anyway. Now let's go ahead and see what haplogroups he has. So it looks like his paternal lineage is R1b, and it looks like his maternal lineage is HV9. HV9A actually. So his paternal lineage is R1b, his maternal lineage is HV9A. All right, R1b is a very common lineage for Western Europeans. Um, let's go ahead and see what he scores for the Nasha code calculator, what he looks like. Let's check this out. So it looks like he's got a green eye color, very interesting. Followed by green is blue eyes with an amber center. Followed by that is blue, and he could have hazel eyes. It is still on the table, but most likely he doesn't have hazel eyes, and he definitely doesn't have brown eyes or darkest brown eyes. Um, most likely, most likely his eye color is green. For the hair color likelihood distribution, looks like most likely he has light brown hair. Followed by that is dark blonde hair. Followed by that is dark brown hair. And light blonde and red hair is kind of unlikely, but it's also sort of possible. But most likely he has light brown hair, green eyes, and most likely he also has very pale skin. So he's got palest or white skin, uh, light brown hair, and green eyes. Very interesting. All right. For the hair texture, it looks like he most likely has straight hair texture. And now let's see for the coloring related variants found in the file. So he has blue eye haplotype 3, he also has blue eye haplotype 2, and he also has blue eye haplotype 1. Very interesting. So he's got all the blue eye haplotypes in HERC2 and OCA2 region. And he also has two light color variants in this variation of SLC45A2. They're definitely very good. Um, Okay, and he has two light color variants in this variation of keto G, which contributes to lighter pigmentation of skin and also eyes and hair. And he actually has two light color variants in this variation of MC1R, which would contribute to a lighter color of skin and also to increased likelihood of red hair. So this might explain why he's scoring actually 12% red hair, 12% for red hair, which is definitely a lot. It's quite high score for red hair. And also something that's oh no, that's not here because I did this report before I did the most recent update. But in the most recent update, at the very bottom of the Shakot results, you will see your genotype sequences for snipper free. But you're not going to see this here because I did this report before I um, basically updated my app. Okay, let's go ahead and look at what he scores for the biomarkers panel. Actually, let's see the phenotypes oracle first. That might be interesting, right? So people like seeing the actual faces. So the closest face to him looks like this, followed by this, very funny, followed by this on the third. And for the two-way admixture oracle, the closest admixture is 50% this plus 50% that. The second closest is 50% this plus 50% that. The third closest is 50% this. Definitely very interesting oracle. Um, there's also a facial morphology oracle, which is really difficult to understand. I'm going to try to explain it to you. Basically, this is like a sub-Saharan African facial features result. So he's scoring 1% for that. This right here is like, I think, American Indian, Native American result. So he's scoring 5% for that. This right here is like a East Asian result. So he's scoring 3% for that. This right here is like a Northeast European or an Estonian result, and he's scoring 24% of that. This right here, I think, is a Middle Eastern result, and he's scoring 13.8% of that. This right here is the Northwest European result, and he's scoring 27% of that. This right here is, I think, a South Asian result, and he's scoring 4% for this. And this right here is a, I think, Oceanian result, and he's scoring 20.8% for this. So definitely very interesting. He's scoring quite a lot of exotic, really exotic components. And because of these exotic components, I feel like that's why he is getting some of these more exotic phenotypes, such as, for example, this, which is a like a Russian phenotype showing up in his oracle. Okay, let's look at the biomarkers, and then we're gonna move on to the actual results. So for the biomarkers, it looks like he's got below average level of vitamin D. Very unfortunate. He's got above average level of LDL cholesterol, which is kind of unfortunate too, and below average level of HDL cholesterol. Once again, you would want to have these numbers reversed, but it's still not that bad. It's still very well within the medium typical range. For glucose, it looks like he's got slightly below average level of glucose levels. Okay. For hemoglobin, it looks like he's got slightly above average level of hemoglobin, which is definitely very good. For expected blood pressure, it looks like he's got a average level of blood pressure, also definitely very good. For expected level of iron in blood, definitely very high levels of iron. So we're gonna have to look at the hemochromatosis result. I feel like he might have risk variance for hemochromatosis. So definitely very high level of iron. And for sex hormone binding hemoglobin, slightly above average level of sex hormone binding hemoglobin, quite good. But for iron and blood, we're going to have to look at that a little bit more close in depth and find out why he's scoring this. So he has no genotypes for COMT or MAOA, very unfortunate. So it's not a very high quality sample. I can't really talk about COMT or MAOA here. What can I talk about here? I can say that he has short form 5 HTTL so he's doesn't have long form 5 HTTL He has high risk of depression. We can talk about this. Uh, what else? What else can I talk about this here? Um, he has European lactose persistence mutation, so he's not lactose intolerant. Very good to see. He has some genotypes for increased OXTR expression, but also some genotypes for sociopathy. Actually, he has out of all of these genotypes, he has 1, 2, 3 for sociopathy and 1 for increased OXTR expression. So he's more of a sociopath, I feel like. For diabetes, nothing too interesting here. We're gonna look at the. I forgot to look at the polygenic risk scores, but we're gonna look at that later. Okay. Should I just go to the polygenic risk scores right now? I feel like that would be more revealing. He's got CC here, which leads to contributes to larger nose size. Definitely very interesting. He's got some genotypes which correlate to increased telomere length and therefore higher lifespan. So that's pretty good. Um, for testosterone, he has some genotypes that increase the levels of testosterone, but he also has a genotype that slightly lowers the level of dihydrotestosterone. Very interesting. Typically, in a 23andMe or Ancestry or MyHeritage file, if you purchase a report from me, you will see a lot more information than just shown here because this is not a very high quality file. Once again, I'll repeat myself. So he's got the genotype which leads to higher odds of male pattern baldness. He actually has some genotypes that contribute to increased odds for male pattern baldness. So I'm suspecting that he's going to have high odds for male pattern baldness with the polygenic risk scores page. Um, and he does not have any risk variance for muscular dystrophy myopathy. It's really good to see. For color blindness panel, no risk variance for color blindness. For FTO gene panel, it looks like he does not have the fat gene variance in FTO. Really good to see. And for syncope, based on 5 SNPs, he has a below average ratio odds for syncope. For biotraits panel, is there anything else interesting here? He's got smellier body odor. Very interesting. That's typical for non-East Asians, though. Most people who are not East Asian tend to score the same thing here. Uh, he is more likely to be able to detect beta IO9 floral fragrance. Very interesting. And for the blood group panel, it looks like his blood type is most likely type O. Type A is also possible. The reason I say type A is possible because 35% is a pretty major chunk, but also because this was only done on the basis of 4 SNPs. So it could really be either type O or type A. The only thing we know for sure that it's not type B or type AB. Um, Now let's see for the polygenic risk scores, and we're going to be done here. So for the polygenic risk scores, it looks like he's got a above average level, actually just pretty much average level, average odds for vitiligo, slightly above average odds for myopia, slightly above average odds for primary biliary cirrhosis, slightly below average odds for stroke. Really good to see. Stroke is very unfortunate, and he has slightly above average odds for male pattern hair loss, as I predicted. Actually, surprising that his odds for male pattern hair loss are not as high as you'd expect, considering that he's a European and that he's got all these genotypes which increase the risk. So it's kind of interesting because there's more variations that contribute to the score than just those shown on the screen. So there's definitely been some contributions from other variations which led to him scoring not such an extreme result. He has below average odds for atrial fibrillation, definitely very good. He has average odds for deep vein thrombosis, definitely really good. Below average odds for bipolar type 1, really good. Very low odds for schizophrenia and bipolar, actually. Very, very low. That's definitely very good to see. He has also quite low odds for type 2 diabetes. Also, he has average odds for Alzheimer's and definitely quite low odds for multiple sclerosis as well. Okay, now moving on to the cancer section. Looks like he's got 0 risk variance for breast cancer out of 14, which is definitely very good, but 10 risk variance for testicular cancer out of 10, which is unfortunate. Actually, that's kind of crazy. 10 risk variance for testicular cancer out of 10, but keep in mind that it's not a very high quality file, and there's like sampling bias, right? Some of these variants might be very low in contribution to the actual risk score, so you don't know what kind of risk variants those are because the file doesn't contain all of them, which is unfortunate. For celiac disease, it looks like he's got 0 risk variance out of 2, definitely very good, and 0 risk variance for GSS out of 10, all right. Typically, with low quality files, you don't see that many risk variants for GSS being found, or variants in general for GSS being found. But in this case, they found 10, which is kind of good as well. It's almost like a normal high coverage file. 2 risk variants for Crohn's out of 18, which is also, I guess, pretty good. 0 risk variance for Reifenstein's out of 4, and 2 risk variance for Parkinson's out of 16, which is quite typical, quite common once again. So this was it. This was the Saxon DNA result. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it interesting. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And also, you can download this file in 23andMe format from link which is in the description of the video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.